My name is Taylor Scarr. I'm the Provincial Forest Entomologist with the Ontario Ministry of Natural Resources. Emerald ash borer is an invasive alien species. It's alien in the sense that it is not native to this part of North America. In fact, it's not native to North America at all. It's also invasive. The invasiveness is measured on things like the economic impact, environmental impact, ecological impact, and social impacts. The beetles are called emerald ash borer because of the green color that they have. It's an iridescent metallic green. The beetles are about 7 to 15 millimeters in length, and they are about 3.5 millimeters across. The larvae are white or creamy colored. They're very long and slender with bell-shaped abdomens, and they create serpentine or S-shaped tunnels underneath the bark as they feed. They can be up to 26 to 32 millimeters in length. The beetle lays eggs onto the trunk of the tree, and the eggs hatch, and the larvae or grubs crawl underneath, and they feed just underneath the bark. That cuts off the flow of food that normally travels down to the roots and feeds the roots, and also the water that travels up from the roots to the leaves. That causes the roots to die, which cuts off the water supply to the top of the tree, and then the top of the tree starts to die, and eventually the whole tree dies. Emerald ash borer only attacks ash trees, and you can tell an ash tree from other trees because it's one of the few species in Canada that has an opposite arrangement to its twigs and to its leaves. In other words, where one leaf comes out, there's another leaf comes out opposite it on the twig, and the buds do the same. They have diamond-shaped patterns to the bark. Both the green and white ash have that. If it's a black ash, it won't be such a diamond shape, but it'll be very corky. When you're looking for emerald ash borer, it's important to look for both the signs and symptoms of the insect. If you pull back the bark of an infested tree, you should see those serpentine or S-shaped tunnels just under the bark. If you see a white or cream-colored larva with the bell-shaped sections on the abdomen, then that's a good sign that that's emerald ash borer. The adult beetle chews an exit hole that is shaped like the capital letter D, so it's flat on one side and semicircle on the other side, and it'll be about 3 to 4 millimeters across. A symptom of attack of emerald ash borer is the tree's response to the insect. So typically you'll see the top of the tree starting to die first, and then you get epicormic shoots, which are brand new shoots that start to grow from the branches or from the trunk of the tree. Emerald ash borer is an ecological disaster. It is eliminating ash as a major component of our urban and rural forests. Ash is an important timber species. It's used for things like flooring, for furniture, for sporting goods. It's also used for gunnels of canoes and those kinds of things where it's a very flexible but strong wood. Emerald ash borer is a beetle that was introduced from China into North America. We think it arrived in wooden pallets or wooden crating used to ship industrial materials to North America. It's most likely spreading by people moving infested material like firewood or in some cases maybe logs. We think it may also be spreading as a hitchhiker on vehicles where it may be attached to a vehicle like on the RAD. When emerald ash borer is found in a new area, the Canadian Food Inspection Agency imposes a quarantine or regulation on it to stop the movement of infested material from that regulated area. So it's important that if you're going to go camping or going to take firewood to your cottage or to your camp, then you should buy it locally and burn it on site.
Jason Pollard, I'm forester with the City of Ottawa, and I'm responsible for implementing the city's emerald ash borer strategy. The goal of any municipal strategy would be to slow the spread and to manage the impact on forest cover. For a municipal strategy, I think most municipalities are considering tree planting, tree injections with pesticide, tree removals where necessary. They're looking at their wood handling and wood disposal operations to make sure they're controlling any infested wood material and handling that appropriately, and also communications. In order to monitor for emerald ash borer, municipalities have tools that have recently become available from researchers, things like insect traps, things like branch sampling techniques that help to inform where emerald ash borer is. Once we've identified those trees, we want to make sure that we're prioritizing our removal operations to address any hazardous trees. Trees can be in close proximity to buildings, to roadways, to cars, to play areas. So we want to make sure that we as a municipality are addressing those hazardous trees, and any trees that we remove, we want to make sure we're handling that wood responsibly. And we're also investigating ways that ash trees that have been killed from EAB can be used in the future for wood products. We want to, as much as possible, look at replacing ash trees that have been removed. In many cases, we can identify opportunities for tree planting in advance of tree removal. In some circumstances in Ottawa, we've looked at what we call proactive planting or interplanting, We've identified areas that have a large number of ash trees, and we've tried to proactively plant trees in advance in order to get those trees established prior to tree removal. The pesticides that we use as part of our municipal program have some good research behind them. Triazin is a product that was developed by the Canadian Forest Service that would also be available through local service providers. If emerald ash borer is moving into an area, you want to make sure that the trees are injected as early as possible. What we have in the background are trees that have been protected with a pesticide that's been injected into the tree. Beyond the injected trees, we see trees that have been infested heavily with emerald ash borer, and those are on private property, and those are trees that the homeowner will now have to consider for removal. With respect to communications, we look at things like communicating through community events, providing information like fact sheets, information on our website that the public can access easily. For homeowners, one of the most important things is to become informed about what EAB is, what its impacts can be, to put in place some very basic strategies with tree planting and considering tree injections and considering tree removals. Another important point for homeowners is to engage tree care professionals, arborists and foresters who are able to provide some advice in terms of when a tree should be removed. Folks who can do those tree risk assessments to identify any hazardous trees or hazardous limbs on trees. We want to, as much as possible, look at replacing ash trees. The idea would be to create some diversity in forest cover and tree species while planting. The more people that understand what emerald ash borer is, what municipal governments are doing, and what private residents can do, the better off we are and the better off our forest cover will be.
If you suspect that you have found emerald ash borer and you're not in an area that's known to be infested by the insect, then you should contact the Canadian Food Inspection Agency or the Ontario Minister of Natural Resources to report it.